Doncaster Rovers manager Grant McCann revealed in his most recent interview following the return of Timothy Lotala, the goalkeeper on loan from Hull City, that the club have had a bid accepted for an academy centre-back from a Premier League football club. Now, it's unsure at this moment in time who the club involved is and who the player is, but here in this video we're going to delve into a bit more detail as to who we think it could be and who could suit this role the better. And I'll also give you my thoughts as to who I would like to sign out of the three choices I've made in this video. So welcome to this special transfer video looking at 3 centre-backs Rovers could sign in the summer transfer window. Let's get into it. So before we look at who the young defenders could be, we have to take a look at who's already at the club in terms of the 2 main centre-backs. Now, of course, Will Flint, who can play the defensive midfield role, and Casper Williams, the other youth academy prospect that's been promoted along with Will Flint, don't feature in this particular video as they're both youth prospects. I reckon Casper Williams could get a potential youth loan out at some point this season, either in the summer or in January, and Will Flint can cover both the defensive midfield and the centre-back position as 3rd or 4th choice if needed. So we're going to focus on the 2 main senior players. Obviously Bobby Faulkner's included in this as well, but I would say that he's more of a rotational role to start off with, potentially getting loaned out as well. So we've only got 2 main players we're focusing on in terms of senior defenders already at the club: Matty Pearson and Jay McGrath. Matty Pearson, of course, one of the club's signings this summer, arriving as the defensive cornerstone. I expect him to lead the back line, especially in his aerial duels and his organisational duties, bringing some much-needed experience for the step up to League One again. Obviously, we know that Richard Wood and Tom Anderson left the club, and I think Matty Pearson can fill the experienced voice role. But for me, the workhorse of the backline so far is Jay McGrath, a consistent starter with commendable fitness, versatility and familiarity with the system Grant McCann plays. And he'll likely partner Matty Pearson in the central of defence, but of course this young centre-back can end up providing some pretty strong competition along with Bobby Faulkner, who may have a point to prove. But Jay McGrath, definitely the workhorse of the back line. So when it comes to a young academy Premier League defender on a permanent deal, which the Free Press has confirmed, by the way, the Free Press have already confirmed that it is a permanent deal, or it's understood to be a permanent deal for this young Premier League defender. So taking all of that into account, we're now going to take a look at 2 particular players that have been involved in European trophy squads that I think could be really good long-term signings for the football club. One of them was involved in West Ham's Europa Conference League winning squad, while the other was involved this year on the bench on a couple of occasions for Tottenham Hotspur's first trophy in nearly 20 years, the Europa League winning squad. So let's first of all take a look at that Spursy defender, Maeson King. So Maeson King is a 19-year-old centre-back who signed his professional contract with Tottenham Hotspur back in February 2024. He can also cover on the left side as well, and we have had some injury concerns on the left-back position with Maxwell, and of course Senior's had his problems now and then, so he can actually cover in the left-back role alongside in his usual centre-back role. Now, it is worth noting he is a regular in both the under-18s and under-21 squads for Spurs, making appearances in both the Premier League 2 league season for the academy team and also cup appearances in the EFL Trophy. Now, for me, he's a real development option who will start off as a backup, but long-term will start games. But I think to start off with, I think he starts Virtue Trophy matches. I think he comes off the bench in certain situations in League One, and he also comes into Carabao Cup games and at early FA Cup games as well. Now, as we said, he is a versatile defender with experience at both the centre-back and the left-back positions. He is a youth international level defender as well. He's got leadership ability. Of course, he's captained the under-18s before, and he's a quick and technically adept defender. And when you look at this guy's potential, I don't think he starts straight away week in, week out in League One, but he offers valuable depth, youth potential and a pathway into regular senior football. Now, I didn't know a lot about Maeson King before looking into some of what he's capable of. However, when I started to look at him, it started to make a bit more sense in terms of the potential this guy offers. And I think that long term he can be a very good centre-back for us. I think that he would be a very good signing. And I would say that Maeson King is someone who can really develop long-term into that main starting week in, week out centre-back role and take over from Matty, Pearson, or compete with Jay McGrath, because Mason King is a bit of a ball-playing defender, but he does do the physical stuff as well. He's a quick, technically adept defender, but he also does the no-nonsense stuff as well. So for me, I think Mason King would be a very good permanent signing from Tottenham, and I would be a fan of this one. Now, the second of these signings is Michael Forbes. Now, he is from West Ham United, and he was on loan actually this past season to Colchester United in League Two. He has captained West Ham's under-21s, he's strong in youth setups, and is a left-footed defender who could be moulded into a more rotational centre-back, short-term but long-term, definitely a first-team starter, and his left-footed balance helps against right-footed defenders, depending what side you put him on. Now, for me, he is the perfect backup to Jay McGrath short-term, and long-term could start with him or compete with him for a place. And I think that with McGrath bringing the energy, pace and long-term upside, I think Forbes adding the left-footed option for flexibility and the positional balance and the physicality, there is an opportunity that you could have a modern, pacey centre-back pairing of McGrath and Forbes long-term. And McCann could deploy Pearson and Forbes, for example, as an additional pairing for balance, and McGrath remaining a first choice with them. So you've got plenty of good options there, depending on how you partner it. But I think that Forbes provides good competition regardless. He is an aggressive defender with solid ball-winning ability and is physical, but is he physical short-term for League One? I do not know. But long-term, with the potential and with the development of this player, I trust the manager 100 million% to get the best out of Michael Forbes long-term and make him a real valuable sell-on asset to the club. So Michael Forbes there, again, another one I've not seen much of. However, when I read up on his potential, I do think he has brilliant potential. Now, as we've said, this is going to be a permanent deal. So it's going to be someone who doesn't have a pathway into the first team at their Premier League club. I think that Forbes has the edge over that, over Mason King, in terms of, I think that Forbes doesn't have a pathway into West Ham more than King has a pathway to Spurs. So there is an opportunity there that Forbes could end up leaving West Ham, because Forbes is an older player than Mason King. Mason King's 19, Forbes is around 21. So Forbes, for me, has less time to get into the West Ham setup first team level than King does at Spurs first team level. And I would say that's probably a realistic thing to go on record to say. So I think Forbes is the most likely of the two from that perspective. But I think when you look at Forbes, yes, he's had his injury concerns, but I think we've got one of the best medical teams, if not arguably the best medical team in the Football League right now. Dave Rennie leading his staff, and I've got high confidence that he can keep him injury-free, because look at the track record of David Rennie. So he's walking into a setup with a training ground that's broken ground and is getting expanded and is currently under construction, ready for, I think, hopefully around October time. We've got a stadium that's going to be filled to the brim for League One football again. And you've got a squad and a club that is just going up and up and up and up. And Michael Forbes will want to be a part of that. And I'm pretty sure Forbes would be the ideal candidate here. So based on his age and the fact that I don't think he sees himself in a pathway with West Ham United long-term going forward, I think the most likely out of the two options there is Michael Forbes. But do you have any other names? Let me know in the comments below. So that is it for this video, talking about a couple of players there that I think could be really good long-term defensive options for Doncaster Rovers, brought in from that Premier League club. Obviously, we're going to keep in tune with the rest of the transfers. We are going to do nearer towards the end of the window, or by the time we think our business is pretty much done, because we're pretty much going to get most, if not all, our business done by the start of pre-season, or around about the start of pre-season. So you'd assume that I'd say most of the signings, if not nearly all the signings, will be done by that point. So we will do a full analysis video on our transfer business, and do we think we've done right? What are we missing? What are we not missing? And go over all of that in a future video closer towards deadline day. But I can't wait for the start of the season. We're looking forward to pre-season already. Looking forward to when the league fixture comes out on the 26th of June. We're going to get all that ready for that. We probably won't live stream that one. We'll probably just do a full main video talking about the league schedule. But I can't wait. I hope you guys can't wait as well. Thank you very much. I am the CHALL. Ta-ra for now. Rovers till I die. Thank you very much.